Lunchly versus Lunchables.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Boo.
Feastables Crunch.
Yeah!
Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese.
Ooh.
We're also 30 less calories, 3 less grams of fat, and 8 less grams of sugar.
Back in 2023, Prime was everywhere. The drink exploded across stores with over $1.2 billion in sales, and shelves were getting wiped out almost the second bottles hit the racks. Parents were arguing in grocery aisles like it was a wild holiday shopping rush on steroids, while massive deals kept stacking up. There were UFC partnerships, WWE crossovers, Barcelona sponsorships, and big brand tie-ins everywhere you looked. At that moment, it really seemed like Logan Paul and KSI had cracked the code and created the next giant sports drink era. But just a couple of years later, the whole story flipped in a shocking way. Sales didn't just slow down, they completely crashed, dropping by more than 90%. Bottles that once vanished instantly started sitting untouched, collecting dust on store shelves. Soon they were getting tossed into clearance bins for less than $1, and suddenly that flashy billion-dollar drink was being roasted online as a total flop. Then the drama started piling up fast. Lawsuits, health concerns, criticism from different corners, and non-stop talk about money all started hitting at once. Prime couldn't escape the pressure as the hype began turning into serious doubt almost overnight. When Prime first launched in January 2022, it felt like a full internet takeover. Logan Paul and KSI, two former boxing rivals, joined forces and sold fans a huge dream. People online were calling it the next Gatorade moment, and Logan's announcement video alone pulled more than 8 million views right away. Kids were waking up before sunrise just to line up outside small stores, hoping to grab a bottle. Resellers jumped in too, flipping drinks for hundreds, sometimes even thousands, and for a moment, Prime looked like the undisputed king of sports drinks. Every time stores restocked Prime, the bottles vanished in minutes. Shops even had to bring in security because crowds were getting out of control. Adults were arguing, people were rushing the shelves, and the demand hit levels nobody predicted. By the end of the first year, Prime had already pulled in around $250 million. Then, just a year later, that number skyrocketed to $1.2 billion, turning it into one of the fastest growing drinks the industry had ever seen. This wasn't just another influencer product or some random energy drink launch. Prime turned into the biggest creator-driven brand ever built online, but the climb happened so fast that most people didn't see the cracks forming underneath the surface. Right at the peak of the hype, Logan Paul's past suddenly came rushing back like a jump scare. YouTuber CoffeeZilla released a hard-hitting 3-part investigation digging deep into the crypto zoo situation. Logan's NFT project had promised huge opportunities, but many people said they ended up with nothing. Some came forward sharing losses like, I lost $25,000, $120,000, and even 500,000 Australian dollars, which is $500,000. The investigation pointed to missing developers, questionable middlemen, and fans claiming they lost serious life savings. Logan had spent years rebuilding his reputation after the Japan forest controversy, but within weeks the drama exploded again. Instead of simply clearing things up, he fired back with a lawsuit against CoffeeZilla because apparently nothing screams confidence like sending lawyers after a YouTuber.
Okay, so these ones are supposed to be good until December, and we just got them from the store. It says used by December 8th, 2024, and today's date is October 16th. So these are supposed to be good for like another 2 months. This is molded. That's mold. This is not safe, especially like kids that are so young. They may not know what mold looks like, so they might just eat it.
Even after the CryptoZoo lawsuit got tossed out, the damage had already spread everywhere. Parents weren't just glancing at hydration labels anymore. They started searching online and asking questions like, who is Logan Paul? And is he a scammer? That's a rough situation when your drink is heavily promoted to younger audiences. And just when it looked like Logan was the only one dealing with backlash, Prime suddenly got hit from an even bigger direction. And that's where the entire situation really began to fall apart. Things escalated quickly when a major political figure stepped into the spotlight. US Senator Chuck Schumer publicly called for an FDA investigation into Prime Energy, and the concern grabbed headlines fast. His argument was simple but loud. One can of Prime Energy carried about 250 milligrams of caffeine, while the branding clearly appealed to younger viewers. To understand that difference, look at other drinks. Coca-Cola sits around 34 milligrams, Red Bull is roughly 80, and Prime Energy was sitting far higher, pushing past the 200 plus milligram range. That level of caffeine is heavy, but the marketing didn't reflect that intensity at all. Prime promotions were packed with influencers, gaming personalities, viral clips, and high-energy internet culture. The vibe felt built for younger fans, not adults carefully reading nutrition labels. Schumer accused the brand of confusing marketing, influencer promotions aimed at kids, and not clearly explaining the caffeine risks.
How many calories come from Feastables versus the food component?
However, Dr. Mike does give Lunchly some wins.
What I was able to conclude, Lunchly has less sugar and therefore less calories, slightly less sodium and saturated fat, does use real cheese.
Once that statement hit the news cycle, parents, teachers, and school officials started reacting immediately. Prime went from trending online to being treated like something suspicious almost overnight. Schools began distancing themselves, and parents were suddenly giving every bottle a long side-eye in grocery stores. Even the caffeine-free Prime hydration drinks didn't avoid the criticism. Nutrition experts pointed out the drink was being promoted like a top-tier sports fuel used by elite athletes. But when analysts actually examined the ingredients, many said the formula looked closer to flavored coconut water boosted with heavy marketing power. Then the internet added its own twist. Taste tests and reviews started spreading across social media, with some people joking that the flavor felt strange or overly perfumed. The memes rolled in fast, and once the joke started, they didn't stop. The exact same bottle that once resold online for $100 during the hype suddenly struggled to sell for $2 in discount bins. The hype disappeared almost overnight, like it had never existed in the first place. Once health concerns started hitting major news outlets, schools wasted no time taking action. Schools in Australia began banning Prime. Schools in the UK followed right behind. Then several schools across the United States stepped in too. Teachers didn't want students walking into class wired, shaky, and unable to focus after drinking a high-caffeine energy drink before a math lesson. That image alone was enough to shut doors fast. Prime went from being the cool drink everyone wanted to the drink that might get a student sent straight to the principal's office. Trying to repair the brand's image, Logan Paul and KSI teamed up with Mr. Beast to release a new product called Lunchly. The idea looked simple, a snack-style meal kit that included a small meal, a Feastables chocolate bar, and a bottle of Prime. On paper, it looked like a huge collaboration designed to dominate the youth snack market. 3 giant internet brands stacked into one product sounded powerful, but the backlash showed up almost immediately.
Paid sponsorship money to Kevin Durant, and he's on the Olympic team. So now we're going to put out Prime bottles with Kevin Durant and all the Olympic rings and everything. And the International Olympic Committee is suing Prime because, like, whoa, you've got your bottles with our Olympic logos. Like, that's super not okay.
YouTuber Dan TDM spoke out and accused them of targeting young fans mainly for profit, and his post exploded across social media within hours. Then medical creator Dr. Mike shared a breakdown that added even more criticism. According to his analysis, a single Lunchly kit only contained around 230 calories, while many nutrition guidelines suggest a typical child's lunch should land closer to 600 plus calories for proper energy during the school day. To reach that level, someone would need multiple kits, which raised new questions about sodium levels and nutritional balance. Instead of calming the criticism, the product launch piled on even more controversy. What was supposed to be a major comeback moment quickly turned into a messy PR headache. The rollout looked like it was meant to show Logan Paul and KSI stepping into a serious business era, but the reaction online told a very different story, and the timing couldn't have been worse. Prime was already losing momentum, not because of one headline, but because internet trends move brutally fast. What's viral today can feel outdated tomorrow. The drink that once dominated every conversation was already fading from the spotlight. Then Lunchly stumbled right out of the gate, and suddenly all 3 names tied to it were getting roasted online. Instead of one struggling brand, it now looked like 2 shaky businesses in a row. The internet's tone shifted quickly, and people stopped treating the whole thing like a serious success story. By 2024, the situation moved beyond bad headlines and into legal territory. a class action lawsuit appeared claiming that Prime's grape flavor allegedly contained more than 3 times the recommended limit of certain industrial compounds sometimes discussed in long-term health studies. That headline alone sent shockwaves across social media and news outlets. Parents started panicking, stores began pulling bottles from shelves, and the news cycle exploded with headlines. Once those concerns started spreading, the drop in sales hit like a brick wall. In the UK, sales reportedly plunged around 70% year over year. Revenue reportedly slipped from roughly $12 million down to about $3.3 million, while profits crashed close to 92%. Over in the United States, the numbers weren't much better. Sales were already down about 40% during the first half of 2024. By 2025, Prime wasn't selling out anymore. It was being cleared out. Bottles that once caused store stampedes were now stacked in discount racks, tossed into clearance bins, and sitting in dollar stores. Prime slowly ended up in that awkward section that basically screams, "Please take this." And when people looked back at the craze, many realized something surprising. A lot of buyers didn't actually love the drink itself. The excitement wasn't really about the flavor, it was about the hype. Kids grabbed it because everyone else had one in their hand.
Because the Olympics, they need a ton of money for all the uniforms and everything. And it all comes from, you gotta pay to put the Olympic logos on stuff. And Prime paid Kevin Durant. Prime did not pay the Olympics. So their exposure in that lawsuit is pretty major.
The buzz was manufactured by internet momentum, not deep brand loyalty. And once that hype machine slows down, the product usually fades right with it. Just think about fidget spinners. They were everywhere for a moment, and now almost nobody talks about them anymore. Then the drama expanded even further. Just when Logan Paul's past controversies were already causing trouble, KSI's name suddenly got pulled into crypto headlines too. CoffeeZilla released another investigation, this time focusing on KSI. The report claimed KSI promoted a crypto project, told followers he was holding onto it, and then later sold about $150,000 worth after the online hype surged. Blockchain wallet activity reportedly showed heavy selling happening shortly after those promotional tweets. Fans who trusted the recommendation felt blindsided. KSI had spent years building a clean, trustworthy reputation, but the situation cracked that image almost overnight. Now both founders connected to Prime were being mentioned in the same conversations, and not in a positive way. At that point, Prime didn't just look like a struggling drink brand anymore. It started to look like a perfect example of hype culture colliding with questionable decisions, and the internet was running out of patience. Selling a drink heavily connected to younger audiences while promoting massive billion-dollar business success was always a risky balance. Even though the crypto controversies weren't directly tied to Prime itself, public trust plays a huge role in any brand's survival. By this stage, many people felt Logan Paul and JJ had burned through a lot of that trust. And just when it seemed like the situation couldn't get any louder, another problem appeared. This time from inside the business itself. In late 2024, one of Prime's manufacturing partners reportedly filed a lawsuit accusing the company of unpaid bills, broken purchase promises, and misleading business practices. That's when the situation pulled in a massive name in the beverage industry, Refresco, one of the largest drink bottlers in the world. The situation escalated even further when Refresco, one of the largest beverage bottlers in the world, reportedly filed a lawsuit against Prime's parent company for around $68 million. The claim stated that Prime walked away from a huge 3-year bottling agreement. According to the filing, Prime had committed to purchasing at least 18.5 million cases every year, which pushed Refresco to invest serious money into custom machinery and special production lines built specifically for Prime bottles. In simple terms, the message was basically, we're about to be massive, get ready. So Refresco ramped up production and invested heavily to meet that demand. But when the hype cooled and sales slowed down, the agreement reportedly didn't play out as expected. That left the bottler sitting on expensive equipment, massive sunk costs, and production lines that suddenly had far less demand than planned. A tough situation for any company.
Flavor Prime Energy Dream Pop, the flavor that'll make you cream in your dream.
Reports also suggested that other suppliers and vendors were trying to recover unpaid money as Prime's growth slowed and cash flow tightened behind the scenes. Then things got even more awkward on a global stage. In July 2024, the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee reportedly filed a lawsuit against Prime Hydration over trademark issues. The complaint claimed that Prime used protected phrases like Olympic, Olympian, Team USA, and Going for Gold during a Kevin Durant collaboration and related promotions without official authorization. The accusation was that the marketing created the impression that Prime had some kind of official Olympic connection, when it actually wasn't an official partner. That's a big deal, because official sponsors pay enormous amounts of money for exclusive rights tied to the Olympics. The lawsuit argued that Prime's promotions blurred the line for customers and leaned on Olympic prestige without the proper licensing. At that point, the damage wasn't just about falling sales anymore. It became about reputation, credibility, and legal pressure building all at once. Looking at the whole story, the collapse didn't happen from just one problem. The hype fading definitely played a role, but it feels like a mix of different choices and controversies piled up quickly. Massive marketing, intense hype, legal challenges, public criticism, and business disputes all collided at the same time. When a brand grows that fast, even small mistakes can hit 10 times harder. It's wild to think that Prime once looked like it could dominate the sports drink world for years. Instead, the momentum slowed down faster than almost anyone expected. The entire situation shows how powerful hype can be, but also how fragile it can be when trust and reputation start getting questioned. Now I'm curious about your opinion. Do you think Prime's downfall was mainly because the hype faded, or do you think the controversies and business decisions played the biggest role? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story has a lot of different angles. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who remembers the Prime craze, and subscribe for more deep dives like this.